Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Mikhail Peters. We're gonna see how this goes. I'm finally back and I'm alive. I didn't do any more recordings from the hospital because I was sharing a room with somebody and that would have been weird. So I had like no privacy. Whereas like now I've just gotten home and the baby is sleeping, but the baby has been asleep already for like a little bit over an hour, which means she's probably gonna wake up and want to eat again, because that's how this works. So yeah, sitting is pretty hard right now, so I'm like leaning back quite a bit. Not really loving the angle of this video, but whatever. Not gonna lie, it's pretty cool to have like, there we go, that's it. So that was like very random because she made that noise and then like didn't actually wake up, so I don't actually know. Okay, but anyway, what am I gonna get at with this? This was mostly just to let everybody know that I'm alive. Ugh. And I kind of want to talk about like my birthing experience because there are a lot of videos out there on that, and I think it's pretty interesting because everybody has a really different experience. So I think that would be cool to recount and just like, you know, keep up here to like let people know how it went and like send that video to them. It's like something I would do. But you know, in general, maybe I'll just like talk about how I'm feeling. So like, here's the thing. Obviously, you don't have, as they call it in Russian, I love it, the lady days, for like 9 months while you're pregnant, and that in theory sounds cool. In practice, it's kind of awful because I guess at the end it just feels like one giant period, and you're just like, for me personally, I was just like so angry at the end of it that I have the baby in the baby box, like right over here. Wow, it's so exciting and satisfying putting the baby in the baby box to take a nap. Honestly, like, it's pretty great. It feels like, this doesn't make a lot of sense, but really the way I feel is like I don't have to worry about anything besides like ensuring the survival of baby human, and it's pretty cool. I just like it. Okay, anyway, what am I trying to get at here? So, I was in the hospital for 5 days. I'll be honest, that was pretty luxurious. And I was, the friends I had who were dropping me off at home, I was like, yeah, I liked staying in that hotel, and I was like, I mean hospital, and I was like, I mean, it basically was like a hotel, because I had air conditioning and they were feeding me, so that was great. Now I have to, do all those things myself. I mean, not have air conditioning, but I'm using the fan, and then I have to feed myself, but that's fine, that's why I meal prepped. In general, I don't think anything has been, like, that hard yet. Again, I'm not working, so that helps, but I'd say the hardest thing so far has been, like, they go through these spurts of needing to eat a lot, like, way more than usual, so there was, like, one of those 4-hour ones last night that, like, I just did not sleep during the night. But again, why does it matter when I'm sleeping if I don't have to work? And I'm just gonna keep saying this. So, I did have a few people visit me in the hospital, and I invited some other people, but then I got to this point where I was like, I'm gonna go home, people can visit me there, like, I don't need a ton of people coming to the hospital. I mean, the birth itself, like, I know people like to be, like, positive about this, but, like, it was terrible. I kind of never want to go through that again in my life. Oh, but you'll forget the pain. No, I, like, don't think I'm gonna forget the pain. It, like, you know, my one friend is like, it's literally the most, like, terrible thing you've ever experienced, and, like, I agree, and it's, like, it's really cool that people think that it's, like, this big awesome thing, and, like, don't get me wrong, it's, like, pretty miraculous in some weird way, but at the same time, it doesn't change the fact that it's incredibly painful, and, like, the entire, not the entire time, but I'd say, like, 40% of the time it was happening, I was like, why did I do this? like, like, why does anybody do this? And, like, I had a pretty, like, relatively easy birth, to be honest, and it was still bad. So I can only imagine, like, you know, there are people I've talked to who are like, I was in labor for, like, 24 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours. I was in labor for 7 hours. It's, like, pretty short. Apparently some people are only labor for like 3 hours, and I was like, I don't know if I would have liked that, honestly, because then that just sounds really intense, and that was kind of the not great part. But yeah, like, transitioning to like being a parent, like, what does that feel like, I guess? Um, yeah, my aunt told me that having a baby at the beginning is kind of like having a dog or a puppy. I would kind of agree with that. It's just like a slightly more needy puppy. But like I still feel the same way. Like I'm like, "Oh, this thing is so cute." And then I just stare at it and then I'm like talking to it and stuff. Like it does feel like having a puppy. Obviously not the same, but like it's like a more involved version of a puppy. Uh yeah. I don't know. But what other things are hard? Just like making sure you know everything's okay. Like right now, one of the biggest issues is like cleaning the belly button. It's not like really an issue, but like I got a little bit concerned because it looked a little gross today, and I was like, is that normal? And apparently, I need to go to the pharmacy and go get some antiseptic. And I'm like, can I bring the baby to the pharmacy with me? And they're like, yeah. So I don't know how all this works in the US. And so another thing actually, because I know I've mentioned vaccines a lot on this channel, if you actually start looking at vaccine schedules for like any country, they're all different, which makes me incredibly confused about like what to even do with the vaccine schedule. It's like, oh, whatever they recommend. So the tuberculosis vaccine was like something I was kind of like, I don't want to say freaking out about, but like overly concerned about. And I'm still trying to figure out whether I want to do that or not. Mostly because today I learned that it only provides protection until the child's 5 years of age. So I'm like, well, if the kid's not going, well, let's see, it's my kid. Maybe the kid will go to a post-Soviet country before the age of 5. But that would be the impetus behind why to get the tuberculosis vaccine, in my opinion. But the whole thing here is like Russian people and tuberculosis and look, I don't know, man. But that was a thing today. Trying to think what else before I just like go into the whole like childbirth thing, which again I might just do a separate video on that. But I mean, overall, like I was in the hospital, I had to stay there a whole day, and that was rough because like basically I just didn't sleep enough. The birth was terrible. That like I'll get into why eventually, but I mean, it's over with. I'm just like happy about that. Like towards the end you really just start dreading it. Like it's hard because you really want the baby to be out, because I hate being pregnant personally. Well, not everybody feels that way. Good for them. Wasn't me. Couldn't be me. So that was hard. I mean, the birth, yeah, whatever. Friday, Saturday, today, Sunday. So it was really like, like 3 full days of being there. I'd say other hard things are like figuring out if the baby's like hot or cold. Because sometimes you just touch the baby and the baby's hot. Because my mom's like, put more clothes on the baby. I was gonna make a racist joke, but like this is okay. I'm just gonna like this isn't. Is it racist if it's true? Like there's a whole thing where in post-Soviet countries they put like a crap ton of clothes on the baby, and I remember being in Kyrgyzstan, it being like 60 degrees Fahrenheit. So what is that? I don't know, like less than 20 Celsius, and like these babies are wearing coats, and I'm like, it's not even that cold. And then I'm like, why do people here put so many clothes on their baby? And yeah, this is like when I was studying Russian in Kyrgyzstan. And they're like, because we think the baby's cold. I'm like, but don't you think the baby's hot? No, it's the opposite. We think the baby's cold. So then after I had this experience, this was like COVID, and so I was running on the boardwalk back where I live in New Jersey, and I saw this baby who had like a snowsuit on, again, in like 60 degree, approximately 20 degree, whatever, weather. And I'm like, dude, what is that, a Russian-speaking baby? Next thing I hear, the grandma or whoever is with the baby start speaking to it in Russian. I was like, yeah, I called that. So I don't know if they do the same thing in Finland, because they already in the winter don't keep their buildings as inordinately hot as they did in Kyrgyzstan. Like in Kyrgyzstan, it was stupid because in the winter you have this big smog problem, so you don't really want to open your window, but it's so hot indoors in the winter that you need to open your window. Let's also talk about how it's just a waste of electricity, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So I just remember being like in Kyrgyzstan in January and wearing t-shirts all the time indoors because it was so hot. So whatever. Anyway, I felt like when my mom's giving me this advice, I felt like a Kyrgyz person in Finland. I don't know. But it was also like kind of actually hot in the room I was in. Although to be honest, I think my room is still hotter right now. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool to be home. And now I'm like, oh, now I'm never going to be home alone again. How cute. I actually like don't enjoy living by myself, and now I don't have to, so that's great. Yeah, I mean, like I feel pretty happy, like not gonna lie. because there wasn't really, like, a lot left I had in life that I wanted to accomplish. I already, like, got a place to live. That was the big issue. And now I have a family. And it's like, okay, that's it. Maybe I want another dog, and that's kind of, like, all I can think of. I saw some Instagram reel that had a dog and a puppy, like, together, and it's like raising your kid with a puppy, then they think they are a dog, and then the kid was doing all dog things, and I thought that was both cute and funny, but I was like, is this realistic? I don't know. Yeah, and then, so, basically, you're at the hospital, they're trying to, like, teach you how to take care of the baby. In Finland, they keep you in the hospital for 3 days, which is, like, really weird to Americans who usually get discharged, like, the next day, unless you had a C-section or something, and, you know, they just want to, like, really make sure that you know how to take care of the baby before they send you home. And just make sure you're not having any issues. They also help you with breastfeeding, which, like, is surprisingly a lot harder than you would think. I mean, I kind of knew that because I took, like, a ton of breastfeeding classes, like, during this whole time, but honestly, it's still hard because it's, like, hard watching the baby get so frustrated because it's, like, a hard skill because, you know, as the one doctor said, the babies are living in a five-star hotel in your belly, and they're getting food whenever they want, and then you're trying to kick them out of there, because, you know, I was induced, so, like, yes, the baby got kicked out. The baby also got kicked out of its home. Okay, sorry, that's a bad joke. Yeah, anyway, it's funny to me, but maybe not to everybody else. Yeah, and then, so yeah, like, basically it's warm in there, it's comfortable in there, they don't really have to do much, they get fed really easily, and it's just chill. Then they get sucked out into the real world, and they have to figure out how to, like, feed themselves, and cry to communicate, and then they have to poop, you know. Apparently when I was in my mom's belly, I, like, ate my own poop by accident. This is something that happens sometimes when babies are coming out, and so then they had to, like, suction the poop out of my throat or something like that. Also, like, not to brag, but, like, my baby came out pretty great. Like, I mean, just in terms of, like, the APGAR score was pretty good, so that's, like, measuring how well the baby adjusts to the real world, and it's, like, 1 to 10, and mine scored, like, a 9 within 1 minute, and then within the next, like, 5 to 10 minutes got a 10, so 10 out of 10. Good job, baby. And then this bilirubin thing, the lower it is, the better, otherwise it indicates jaundice or something, and then they would have to put the baby under blue light. And apparently, if it gets really bad, it can lead to, like, permanent brain damage. And I was like, what the heck? So, that's good. Like, my baby's score for that was, like, abnormally low. So no brain damage here. That's great. And then I guess the other weird thing about having a baby is just, like, you just look at the baby and you're like, wow, this baby's so cute and beautiful. But, like, honestly, like, my dad always says, like, newborn babies kind of look like turtles, and they're, like, kind of ugly. And, like, I don't know that I really think the baby's, like, okay, when the baby came out, I was really freaked out, honestly. Like, I thought I was going to start crying, and it was going to be this big, beautiful moment, but I was like, ah. It was like, it's like a little alien or something. I don't know. I mean, the whole process is just, like, kind of weird when you think about it. And so, like, anyway, the baby came out, and then I'm just, like, we're just, like, staring at each other. Okay, I really wanted to save this more for, like, the birth story part, but, like, the funniest part about this is, like, my grandmother was teaching me how, like, if you make faces at the baby, they'll imitate it back to you. So, like, I was doing, like, and then she eventually did that, and then, the other thing is because I was basically screaming the whole time, which you're also not supposed to do, and I was more like, ah! So when the baby came out, like, she made that kind of noise, and I literally, like, started laughing. It was so funny. Like, the other really funny thing that happened is because I was sharing a room with another person, the baby started, like, this other baby started crying, like, really, like, violently, and then my baby woke up, and she just, like, came out of deep sleep and was like, and started crying, and there was, like, a symphony of crying, and I started laughing because it was just, like, funny. So, like, already I feel like there are some things that are just, like, funny, and that's, like, the best part. Like, I remember telling my sister, like, a couple of years ago, 'cause she's, like, 10 now, I was like, do you know why people have kids? And she's like, why? And then I was like, free entertainment, and then she looked at me like, which was honestly how I looked at the entire birth, I think. Not the entire, but, like, the good half of it, that I was not enjoying it, and I feel like anything anybody said to me, I didn't care. I just, like, gave them a death stare, and, like, sometimes I couldn't even respond. I'd either be like this or like this. It's like YouTube. So anyway, there's all that, and then, Yeah, so like, but anyway, so babies are like not always that cute. But then like it's really funny because my baby looks like my baby picture when I was baby, and it's kind of funny. Yeah, and then what else happened that was like, well, and then I'm just thinking, I'm like, wow, this baby is so beautiful. But I'm like, am I just saying that because it's my baby, or like, is this baby actually beautiful? I don't know. But if the baby looks a lot like me, then maybe the baby will look like me later. I actually look a lot like my mom, so maybe it will be like that. But like I'm pretty sure her eyes are gonna be blue, which is cool because I like wanted that. It was not in the bag, let's say. And then her hair is like brown like mine. So but then their hair changes a lot. The Finnish baby in the room with me obviously was born blonde. Not obviously, but like, statistically speaking, was born blonde. Not this baby, because neither of us were blonde. But yeah, so I don't know. It's like it's a pretty cool experience, and it's like my life is gonna be changed forever. Apparently, if I was gonna have postpartum, it was gonna like happen already by now. And I'm like, I just feel better because the baby's out of me, and like the baby being inside me was annoying. Like it was uncomfortable, like physically. Like I just, I just want to be skinny again. Like to be perfectly honest, like I did not like being pregnant at all. Like I'm not even sure I could think of any. I like sometimes like I literally sit there and I wonder like what was worse. Was it like the birth process or was it like the being pregnant for 9 months? I don't know. They were both terrible. I'm just being honest. I'm not going to pretend like, oh, this is so amazing. It's amazing getting a kid. That's awesome. I love that. I've like always wanted a kid, but well, not always. Since the age of 19, I have. But yeah, everything getting up to it. It's like I speak Russian. Did I like the process of learning Russian? No, it was very annoying. Do I like being able to speak Russian now? Yes, it's very useful and fun. Same thing. So, anyway, again, this is just to say I'm not dead, and I don't know. Like, I'm going to talk about the birth story thing later. But overall, like, today the midwife asked me, how would you rate your birth experience? I was like, 10 out of 10. How would I rate my pain experience? 10 out of 10. I added that part. But honestly, like, was it everything I hoped for and more? Yeah. I mean, the birth did not go exactly how I wanted to because I, like, really wanted a water birth. But, like, whatever. Can't have it all sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta appreciate what you have and move on. So, I at least didn't get a C-section, and I did, like, have a natural birth. So, I'm not sure I'd recommend that, honestly. It was, like, terrible. I am just gonna keep saying it was terrible. Yeah. But anyway, that's kind of everything that I have for today. It's, like, really weird thinking about, like, life after the hospital with baby, and I have to, like, figure out what to do with myself now. I mean, I can, like, do work on the computer. I can clean the floors like I like to do 500 times a day. I just have to plan, like, actually leaving the house. That's, like, the weird part. And I have to go figure out how the stroller works. Okay, well, again, anyway, this is just to, like, notify the world that I'm not dead. And I have to figure out what to talk about with the Russian side. But that's everything for today, and I will talk more about the birthing experience later. Okay, thanks for watching my channel and continuing to support it, even though now I'm not appealing to the weird masses who think I'm, like, as I keep joking, like, single and childless. So, hopefully this can still stay interesting. And then at some part, we're going to talk about what traveling with the baby looks like, because that's coming up soon, too. So, we'll see that part later. Currently, this is what I'll do the finished video about today. No, I mean, I have to apply for the baby's passport and stuff and what that process looks like. Okay. Alright, well, until next time.